Bob Wallace says addressing leadership challenges inside City Hall, ensuring students are prepared when they graduate high school, and bringing more opportunities, especially when it comes to economic opportunity to all areas of the city, are ways Baltimore can help turn the page. But until then, he says he's not convinced anything will change.
These problems that we're facing today in Baltimore City, they didn't just happen yesterday. This has been decades and decades.
But does that
It's
mean
gotten
that that's
worse.
acceptable, though?
No,
I mean, even
question.
though it's been a problem for decades, does that mean people have to accept it?
That's a very good question, Mackenzie. No, we should never accept it. I'd be talking about bringing in the National Guard, bringing in state resources to work with the city enforcement group that will allow us to put a plan together that would disrupt this violence. The people feel we're not making progress. They feel that our leaders are not listening, or they don't hear, or don't care.
How can they live up to their potential when they have heard elected leaders say year after year after year they're going to address this and it doesn't change?
Absolutely. They cannot. They cannot. You've got to work with other groups within government and society to get things done. The first step in making that happen, though, is you got to make sure you're on the same page. I am not convinced that the mayor and the city council are on the same page as it pertains to shared vision of the city and the shared mission. And until that happens, we're going to have this noise. We're going to have this conflict.
But doesn't he have the power of the position that he holds to put public pressure on the city council to act or to have them move on things that he believes are a priority for the city?
The mayor certainly has the power. But see, power means nothing if you don't realize that you have the power. He has to own that relationship. And that means that somebody, between the two, somebody has to humble themselves. Somebody has to be able to communicate, to come to the table and say, how can we get to a point of shared vision and shared mission in the city so that the people are benefited? Put the people first.
Do you think egos are getting in the way of solving some of the big problems in Baltimore?
Ego always gets in the way.
The city prepared to spend more than $640 million in federal COVID relief money. Some of this one-time funding going to community violence intervention programs like Safe Streets, despite data being inconclusive about how effective they are in saving lives.
See, I would have used the influx of that American Rescue Capital in a different way.
How?
So I would have put more money towards developing the economies in the neighborhoods to get people jobs.
More community investment based on economic growth opportunities.
On economic growth. Until we solve the inequality, all right, of opportunity, right, and the economic prosperity of Baltimore City, we're not going to address the issues.
As for education, a public school system in Baltimore with a history of grade changing, ghost students, and attendance irregularities at some schools. Dr. Sonia Santelises has been there for 6 years now. Do you think the education system can find a path forward that improves student outcome and therefore improves the city with her at the top?
If I were mayor, I would really consider changing leadership. Not because she's a bad person or anything, but because the results are just not there.
Imagine if every student in Baltimore City Public Schools graduated and went to a top 100 school. What would the city look like?
Oh, it would change Baltimore almost overnight.
I also asked Bob Wallace about the federal indictment facing Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby and if he thinks the investigation is a distraction for the city's top prosecutor along with her husband, City Council President Nick Mosby. Hear his thoughts and watch an extended version of our interview on our website at foxbaltimore.com. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.